Simple interest. This video uses some different terminology and notation from the previous video, but the concepts are the same. This video uses C bracket T or C subscript T in place of C subscript N to denote the final amount of an investment, including the interest earned. This video also uses T to denote time of the investment, where the previous video used N. Final amount is used in place of accumulated capital. Throughout this video, you may see the use of both terms. When working with financial math, for example, finding the future value of investment, the question is going to talk about either simple interest or compound interest. Simple interest means you only earn interest on your initial investment. For example, if you invest $500 at an annual interest rate of 1%, you would earn 1% of that $500 or $5 for each year you kept your money in the investment. So if it was a 5-year investment, you would get 5 times that $5, which would be $25. That's simple interest. We don't need exponential functions or logs to calculate investments with simple interest, but instead there's a fairly simple formula. CT is equal to C0 bracket 1 plus I times T close bracket, where CT is the final amount, C0 is the initial investment, I is the interest rate, and T is the time that the money is left in the investment. It's important to note that the time and the interest rate must both be specified in the same units. So if you're specifying in days or years or months, they must be the same. Let's look at an example. Jill invests $5,000 at simple interest rate of 6% annually. How much money does Jill have after 5 years? Let's start off by writing out the formula. Let's see what information we're given in the description of the problem. So Jill invests $5,000, so that tells us that our initial amount is C0, which is $5,000. It says the annual interest rate is 6%, so our I is 6%, and we're being asked to find CT, which is the final amount, and the time, so that's what we're trying to locate, and the time of the investment, T, is 5 years. Let's go ahead and substitute each of these values into the equation. The initial investment times 1 plus now the I at 6%. 6% is 0.06. Remember, 6% is 6 out of 100. If you divide 6 by 100, you're moving the decimal place from here. You're moving it 1, 2 places. So 0.06. And then times the value of T. So that's 5,000. Now the 0.06 times 5 is going to be 0.3, which is 6,500. So Jill has $6,500. Let's take a look at another example. Again, we'll write out the same equation, and we'll go through the problem description and pick out each of the elements. So it says Ryan invests $1,000, so C0 is equal to 1,000. We're told that the annual simple interest rate is 4%, and we're asked how much money does Ryan have after 18 months. Now, a couple things. The term is in months, but the interest rate is in years, so we need to get them to be consistent. We know that 18 months is equal to 1.5 years, and 4% is going to be 0.04. So now we have everything in the format that we need for our equation, so we can go ahead and find CT. We can substitute in everything. We've got 1,000 times 1 plus I 0.04 times 1.5. 0.04 times 1.5 is 0.06. So we've got 1,000 times 1.06, which is $1,060. Therefore, Ryan has $1,060. Try the practice question and then come back to continue the lesson. We won't always be asked to solve for the accumulated capital or the final value of an investment. We can solve for the other variables by plugging it into what we know and using algebra to solve, or we can do so by using the following formulas that have already been reorganized for us. Let's see how they work in practice. Rasha invested some money for 11 years at an annual simple interest rate of 7.4%. After 11 years, the investment was worth $7,890.90. How much did Rasha invest initially? So we're trying to find C0. We've been told that the final value, CT, is equal to $7,890.90. Told the term is 11 years. And the interest rate, it's an annual simple interest rate of 7.4%, which is equal to 0.074. Now we can use the original formula and substitute in the numbers there and do the calculations, or we can use the formula that we've just shown above. Let's start off with the original formula. So we've got CT is equal to C0 times 1 plus I times T. So CT is 7890.90. That's equal to C0, we don't know what that is, times 1 plus I, which is 0.074, times T, which is 11. That's C0 times 1 plus 0.814. Now, to get the C0 alone, we're going to divide both sides by the 1.814. So we've got 7890.90 divided by 1.814 is going to be equal to C0. And when we work out the math, C0 is equal to 4,350. Alternatively, we could have taken the new equation that we have for C0 and substituted the numbers directly in there. 7890.90 divided by 1 plus 0.074 times, and we can see that we end up with exactly the same answer. Let's try another example. In this case, we're going to be looking for the term that's required. So let's see what information we're given. How long will it take an initial capital of $9,300 to earn an accumulated capital of $14,322 at an annual simple interest rate of 8%? First thing we want to do is identify each of the components that we know already, or each of the variables. So we're told the initial capital is $9,300. We know the final capital is $14,322. We know the interest rate is 8%, which is going to be 0.08. Again, we can use either method to solve the problem. We'll start off with the original formula and then rearrange it once we've put in all of the variables, and we can solve for t. The accumulated capital is $14,322. The initial capital is $9,300. We've got 1 plus I, which is 0.08, and the t is unknown. We're going to divide both sides by 9,300 to get rid of that number on one side. That gives us 1.54 equal to 1 plus 0.08t. Subtracting 1 from both sides, we end up with 0.54 is equal to 0.08t. Going to divide both sides by 0.08 to get the t alone. And t is 6.75, or 6 3/4 years. Now let's solve it using the equation that we were given. T is equal to CT divided by C0 minus 1 divided by I. Substitute in those numbers. 14,322 divided by 9,300. Subtract 1. Divide all of that by 0.08. We get 1.54 minus 1 divided by 0.08, which is 0.54 divided by 0.08, which is equal to 6.75. So it will take 6.75 years. Let's look at one more example. What's the annual simple interest rate for an investment of $2,400 that yields $4,646.40 after 9 years? So we know we're looking for I. That's the simple interest rate. The initial investment is $2,400. The final value is $4,646.40, and the term is 9 years. Again, we can start with the original formula and substitute in each of the elements. So we've got the total investment from the initial investment times 1 plus I, which is unknown, and t, which is 9. Divide the 4646.40 by 2400 to get rid of that from this side. We get rid of that. So we end up with equal to 1 plus I times 9, and we get 1.936 is equal to 1 plus I times 9. I'm going to subtract 1 from that side, get 0.936 is equal to I times 9. Now we're going to divide both sides by 9, and we get 0.104 is equal to I. 0.104 is 10.4%. Now let's go ahead and solve it using the equation that we're given. I is equal to CT divided by C initial minus 1 all divided by T. CT is 4646.40 divided by the initial value is 2400. Subtracting 1 divided by T, which is 9, we get 1.936 minus 1 divided by 9, which is 0.936 divided by 9, which is 0.104. So we conclude the annual interest rate is 10.4%. Go ahead and try the practice questions and turn them in once you're done.